Christmas Eve, 1945, the Sodder family home in Fayetteville, West Virginia, is filled with the warmth of the holiday spirit. But what happens next will plunge this family into a mystery so dark, so perplexing, that it still haunts the town decades later. A house fire, 5 missing children, and questions that remain unanswered to this day. Who or what was behind the disappearance of the Sodder children? It was a night like any other Christmas Eve in 1945. The Sodder children were excitedly waiting for Santa, and the family settled in for a cozy evening. But in the early hours of Christmas morning, something unimaginable happened. A fire broke out in the Sodder home, quickly consuming the entire house. George and Jenny Sodder, along with 4 of their children, managed to escape the inferno. But 5 of the Sodder children, Morris, Martha, Louis, Jenny, and Betty, were nowhere to be found. As the flames died down, the family searched frantically for any sign of them. But what they found, or rather, what they didn't find, would raise more questions than answers. After the fire, the Sodder family was left with the unthinkable. No trace of their missing children. No bones, no remains, nothing. The official explanation was that the fire had burned so intensely that it completely incinerated the children's bodies. But George and Jenny refused to believe it. They began to question everything. Why did the fire department take so long to arrive? Why did their phone line, which had been working earlier in the night, suddenly go dead? And why was there no sign of their children in the ashes? The Sodders were convinced that their children had been kidnapped. Over the years, strange clues began to surface. Jenny found a strange object in the yard that looked like a pineapple bomb, a potential clue that someone might have intentionally set the fire. Witnesses claimed to have seen the children in a car speeding away from the house that night. And later, reports came in from people across the country, claiming to have seen the Sodder children alive. The Sodders even received a photograph of a young man in the mail with a note that read, "Louis Sodder, I love Brother Frankie. Hey, little boys." The resemblance to their missing son, Louis, was striking. But despite these leads, no concrete evidence ever emerged to explain what really happened to the Sodder children. Desperate for answers, the Sodders hired private investigators and pursued every lead. But as they dug deeper, they began to suspect that there was more to the story than they had been told. Some believed that the fire was a cover-up, possibly linked to George's outspoken criticism of Italian dictator Mussolini or his mysterious business dealing. But despite their relentless efforts, the truth remained out of reach. The case was never officially reopened, and the Sodder family lived the rest of their lives haunted by the mystery, never knowing the fate of their beloved children. The story of the Sodder children has become a legend in Fayetteville, a haunting reminder of the unanswered questions that still linger. The billboard the family erected offering a reward for information stayed up for decades, a silent plea for justice that was never fulfilled. What really happened on that fateful Christmas Eve? Were the Sodder children victims of a tragic accident? Or was something more sinister at play? The mystery of the Sodder children endures, a puzzle that may never be solved. What do you think happened to the Sodder children? Share your theories in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into history's most perplexing unsolved mysteries.